Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen. Today we talking with Andrew Kruglashov about the situation on southeastern part of Ukraine and the news. The situation is very hot and still a lot of people, persons with guns and unstabilized situation, and nobody knows who is who and what to do. Yesterday was such moment after one of the TV shows, one of the candidates for president of Ukraine, Oleg Tsarev, were beaten with X and really self-defense of Maidan, group of ultras, Pravый sector.
Right sector, yes.
Yeah, right sector. They give a they secure him of very angry people, because this candidate was one of who were supporting Russia and talking about invading Russian troops inside Ukraine.
Yes, the situation is quite nasty, ladies and gentlemen, because people start to act in an illegal and illegitimate manner when legal authorities fail to do their work, and when journalists are from one side trying to be many-sided, unbiased, and they are inviting people like Oleg Tsarev, who really call for the invasion of the foreign troops on the territory of Ukraine, but on the other hand, they provoke further destabilization by giving him an air on TV.
General Prosecutor's Office opened a criminal case about separatism through Oleg Tsarev, and a criminal case about hooliganism. If we talking about people who were yesterday beating him and who were transferring him to General Prosecutor's Office.
Yes, that's the rightful decision, because as you take the responsibility to act in a manner that represents your values and your understanding of justice, you have to accept the consequences, because any deeds should be judged by law, not by some sort of ethical principles that should be that can be very different. So it's like in this case of Sparta, when boy ran away to participate in Peloponnese War, and he was, on the one hand, awarded with the Medal of Honor, at the other, he was punished for disobeying the order of staying in Sparta.
People who were going with him like escort, like very great meeting with him to General Prosecutor's Office, stayed there till morning and wrote a statement against him about separatism, and really people from who were from Maidan, they asking people to come to write through him, because to be in real right order, this all due to law, they need to have a case of what to do this, and people do this because he's really always talking about separatism. He told that he can become a head of separatists. So
yes, he said he's ready to lead southeast of Ukraine.
To talk, to finish with Tsarev and to talk about just separatists, now we have information that on the eastern Ukraine situation maybe can be told start to stabilize, because in some cities where forces of separatists are take power, starting a dialogue with real power, and now the main demand from state power in Donetsk, for example, from Donetsk separatists, is to make a referendum on 11th of May. And but the mayor of Donetsk, Lukyanchenko, told that for now it's not. It can be done on 11th of May. It's very short time because our parliament need to make a law for this referendum. Even if we're talking about all Ukraine referendum, and especially if we're talking about local referendum in Donetsk.
That's true. That's true, for sure. We need to win time. We are becoming stronger. We need to stabilize the situation. So I agree that we have to act proactively. If you would ask me about the strategy, we have to make the steps. We have to listen or to the people, but remind them that separatism equals 15 years of prison. That's it. If you want, if you demand broader self-governance, if you demand certain actions in the sphere of human rights and social economical policy, that's lawful, but you have to watch out for your methods, and you have to watch out for calling to separatism.
And still, our security of Ukraine are finding more information about Russian residents and Russian diversant groups, and confirming this with new evidence, but for now wasn't shown this evidence for press or for foreign offices of other countries, but all over the world, like we hear, everybody is talking about this. Separatists are ruled from Russia, and here we're seeing a lot of people who were just when was crisis in Crimea. Now they moved. The diversants moved to eastern Ukraine. The most bad situation is in Sloviansk still, and in Donetsk, and mostly in Donetsk region. For example, Lugansk region starting to make self-defense of local self-defense, who supporting state power, and not to lead the separatists in this case. And maybe referendum is the way to stabilize the situation. What do you think?
Yes, but I mean if you encounter the problem, local problem, yes, the way to handle it, to get into control of the situation about local problem, is to give the solution which includes the problem but is broader than the problem itself. What I mean by that is that if we call for a referendum and put the question about whether we need federalization or not, it means we can be proactive, and it will be up to us how the question will be formulated. Otherwise, we will face the situation when local referendums will start to grow as mushrooms after rain, and even by the Russian precedent that happened in Crimea, some people may claim that their street wants to join Russian Federation, or etc., etc. So we really need to be ahead of the situation. It's difficult because Putin knows what play he plays. He shows something new to the world. Yes, his rhetoric is very old. It's the rhetoric of Nazi regime, But the methods are more sophisticated, and we have to deal with that wisely. About the Maidan, Luhansk, about Samoborona, we have to be mindful of the way the means are used. In politics, means not, and they determine results. So really, it's important to separate flies from sausages. You know, if someone wants to use the general unsatisfaction of people with the current situation, when the currency exchange rate is not favorable to hryvnia, when salaries are not going up while prices skyrocket, we really need to listen to those who have a social economic demand and separate separatists. People have different demands, as well as people on Maidan had different demands. That was true. And what happened next was the result of the absence of political dialogue. We have seen a lot of violence, blood, and we should not repeat the mistakes of Yanukovych regime.
And now such information knew that Security of Ukraine opened a criminal case about one of Russian banks here for financing of terrorism. And it's in this case they're talking that through this bank were coming money for these diversants and diversant groups.
Mm-hmm.
And another big news is that Russia will not recognize presidential elections in Ukraine. About this, talking about one of the deputies of Russian parliament in Moscow, and that Moscow even not going to send observers here. This said Leonid Slutsky, head of the Dumas of the Parliament Committee of International Affairs. So
it means we'll have war. If they boldly state that they will not recognize presidential election, it means they are not up to the political dialogue. They want to go further. They want to grab more. There is no such thing as Hitler before 1939. It's just the neo-Nazi regime. It will go further as long as we will allow it to go. If Ukraine will not be protected, will not be supported, it will fall. We are facing another big atrocities, possibly, another big war. So it's very important to be very clear and to help Ukraine now. By helping Ukraine, you will help yourself.
And it's already international information. United Nations recognize Tatars of Crimea, Crimean Tatars and Ukrainians, the most oppressed communities in Crimea. And in that case, I just want to ask you, what help really now need Ukraine from international organizations, from United Nations, from European Union, from NATO?
We need to spread the word. We need to send observers. We need humanitarian help. We need help in the sphere of conflict resolution. We need to develop dialogue, and we need to engage many Russian specialists who are not for the resurrection of Soviet Union or the new Fourth Reich, the building of Fourth Reich. We need financial help when it is possible. We need you to be our people, our ambassadors in the world. Just tell truth about Ukraine. We are facing really difficult times. If listeners from America, you will be able to compare it with the war for independence. It is really so, but in comparison to the war for independence of 18th century, our founding fathers are not quite there, and while Russia is much closer than Great Britain.
And, maybe I think most of one important thing that we need here it's observers from different countries, from different organizations in these really hot points of in Eastern Ukraine, because as well to see what is going on really, not to think that really people they are supporting separatists.
That's true.
And maybe the last question I want to ask you, before 2 or 3 weeks, Ukrainian Minister of International Affairs, he told that the Security Council of United Nations need to be reformed to change the case of taking decisions. Not any country can to block the decisions.
Regarding the situation when one country can block any decision in its favor, and this country is a threat to international security itself, I think this might be a wise choice.
Okay, thank you, Andrii.
Good luck and thank you. Stay on our side, please.